Friday. Still snowing parts of the province. Thanks for making some time today to visit the SportsCage. However you're going to be listening or watching this program, we appreciate it. Colson is with me. It's for Nelson Holmes. You can listen on the radio, 620 CKRM. You can listen on the streams, or you can watch it. You can see what goes on here behind the scenes. It's exciting stuff. Through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. The 3 hours for you. Let me pull up the roadmap here and what we got. Farhan Lalji is on his way back to his home office, so we're hoping to be joined by him in about 30 minutes time. I think we're going to get Farhan. It's very curious to talk to Farhan because we have the Ajou.
It's been an interesting few days for the CFL.
We have the kickers, Brett Lother and Ottawa releasing kickers, and the Riders signing one today. Then we got the Taylor Elgersma signing in Winnipeg. We'll see what else Farhan has to say. If you have questions for him, if you have questions about anything, I'm going to need your help today on our way of communicating. It's called the Prairieland Rentals text line. Prairieland Rentals is located at 600 Albert Street in Regina, the local rent-it store. Probably if you need to rent it, they have it. You get to deal with the owner, professional. Always, the last thing I rented from them was very small. It was a snake, toilet snake. So you can rent that. You can rent power tools. You can get right up to aerators. When we start aerating our lawns, when all the snow is gone. I just heard that news story about runoff. I was wondering about that. We can get into that in a bit. Prairieland Rentals text line's number is 936-6262. 936-6262. Text in. Chirp us. We probably won't read that, although I read some good chirps because I'm okay with that. But anything you want to comment on today, if you got questions for any of our guests like Farhan Lalji, that's how you get a hold of us. Hour 2, Off the Rails Friday with Eric Francis. I've briefed Eric that I need him to come on, and we're doing one of our Kenaston super drafts. It'll be Barney and Eric. If you don't like NHL hockey and you don't like NHL playoffs, there's parts of this program today that will just try and keep you entertained with tomfoolery, because we got to get into the NHL playoffs.
And don't forget his sweater.
Oh, if you didn't catch that last week, that's a tease. Good tease, Colson.
There we go.
If you didn't catch that last week, we have a picture of it, and we'll get Eric to recap the hoodie story. It's awesome. Also, but yeah, we're going to be doing a super draft with Eric. Clutch Performers. Darryl Wolski has been on the program a number of times before. He is a hockey agent, hockey advisor, helping kids and athletes go to Europe, play pro, NCAA. That's where I'm going to pick his. If you've got questions for him, I just gave you the number. I want to pick his brain on the transfer portal. There's some stuff going on in the NCAA where the hockey athletes now are starting to transfer, and transferring from schools you wouldn't really think because they sound pretty gravy. So Darryl will be in hour 2. Hour 3, head coach of the Regina Pat Canadians, Ryan Hodgins, as they get set for the national championship, the TELUS Cup in Peterborough, Ontario. It starts Monday, and it is a fast and heavy schedule. Everyday games. So Haji will come in. We'll talk about that. They were there last year. I wonder if there's any differences right out of the gate. Does it feel different going there? Last year was in Fraser Valley. This year they're going the other way. And one of the teams, the Quebec team, is definitely one of the teams that they've played before. So we'll talk to Haji in hour 3. Also in hour 3, Lotto Lawrence, back by popular demand. Lotto Lawrence has won money, real lettuce, in the Kenaston Super Draft So I want to get his take on how you do the playoff draft, how it differs, and what's the strategy that he's going with. This, he said, I think he teased me that he might have a new strategy. And then Lawrence and I are going to do a super draft, because if you're just tuning in this week, the Kenaston super draft deadline is Monday at 6 p.m. One entry is only $40. You can get one Super 8 entry if you just want to do the Super 8 dance for $10. The bonus offer, 3 super drafts, 100 or what I do. And Sharky and I went halfers yesterday. He even e-transferred me already. We're doing 7 for $200. So $100 each. 32 players. You can pick whatever players you want that are in the NHL playoffs. So I guess you could take players that aren't in the NHL playoffs, but you're doing yourself a disservice. And then the other thing...
That's called a donation.
Yeah. I've had, which I did on the Masters to numerous outfits. The one thing, because you have the boxes, right? I don't know if we have can you pull it up for people as we go along here? I know I show it on the screen, and I got a bunch of them printed off, because we have 4. What do we have here filled out? We have Cage Guys 1, that Sharky and I. Then Robert Jamont, Sharky, has filled out 2 on his own. That's 3. Lotto Lawrence and I have that one earmarked there. That's 4. And then the Brett Lothers, as Arash yesterday named our team, because Arash was in on it. So that's 5. I got 2 more left to go. Do one with Eric Francis. Might do one with Tegan on Monday. I don't know if Dave's in Monday, but that'll maybe be the last one. So at the end of the day, Barney is not doing one on his own. That's okay, though. I'd be team guy. And then we can blame each other. Point, like the Spider-Man gif. Point at each other. It was your fault. It was your fault. So the Kenaston Super Draft, it's a heck of a deal. There it is. Good job, Colson. Superdraft.com. We're talking a lot about that today and NHL playoffs. And yesterday, some of you were texting in, John the Habs fan, saying, you got to take some Habs. As I look through all of our entries so far, the 5, not a lot of boxes underneath the Montreal Canadiens checked off. No belief in those Canadians. But is it are we going to be sitting here in 2 weeks from now, Colson, and go, why didn't we see this coming?
Very possible. What's the stat?
They match up good against Tampa Bay. They were going to beat Tampa Bay. They are so fast and skilled. Maybe I'll convince Eric to do some Montreal Canadiens. Tough first round, but it's the NHL playoffs. What's really easy? What are you thinking out there? 936 62 62. Montreal. What if Montreal goes to the Stanley Cup final?
Weirder things have happened. They've been there a lot.
We sit there and go, well, this is pointless watching, because I have no skin left in the game. If Montreal plays, who else? If Montreal plays Anaheim in the Stanley Cup final, I'll eat a piece of my gotch. But that's not happening. Ratings wise in the States, like Anaheim's a big area. I don't know how that would go. What would be the most improbable Stanley Cup matchup? I'm probably going to pull up the bracket here. Stanley Cup bracket. We you know what we could do right now? That's we can get this out of the way, Colson. Sprinkle of the day for Sports Select. Stanley Cup
futures
bracket. Stanley Cup bracket. Why? Just give me the bracket. Why is Google being difficult today? Yeah, let's go to Stanley Cup futures. You pull them up here and you give me the 4 longest shots on the board.
There's the bracket for you, by the way.
Okay, you got the bracket. bracket up. I'll go to sportselect.com. Sportselect.com. If you don't know this, you can play futures. You can bet on wrestling this weekend. Go under futures and check it out. And you'll go like, I had no idea. Jeff on the text line, Utah versus the Flyers.
That's probably up there, yeah.
Yeah, that is... Okay, Stanley Cup winner. Here we go. Under futures. Actually, the longest odds are the Los Angeles Kings at 58, which seems... I got some goaltending issues there. I think Saskatoon's Darcy Kemper might not even start. Followed by the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. It's just the Ducks now, Barney. The Anaheim Ducks. Followed by the Philadelphia Flyers. And then the Boston Bruins. I think there's value on one of those four teams. And then Utah. And then Montreal.
Ooh.
So what the odds makers are telling us, the longest shot for a Stanley Cup final is the Los Angeles Kings versus the Philadelphia Flyers. Or the Anaheim Mighty Ducks versus the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't know.
Somebody want to parlay that? Put them in as the final matchup? That's probably...
Oh, what would that... There is... I think they have that. I think they have Stanley Cup matchup winner somewhere. Excuse me.
I think they have East Conference and West Conference winner, which is probably the closest you could get.
Yeah, and then they got all the series winners.
Yeah, because Boston and the Flyers are right now 21-1 to win.
Yeah.
To win the East.
I see that.
And the West, Anaheim's 23 and the Kings are 24.
So the odds makers are, if you think, and we'll get into with Lotto Lawrence later, because the way I go at it, obviously you're trying to pick the final two teams and as many players as possible. But just because you have a player, it could be a third, fourth line plug that's a defensive checking role. Who is a good defensive checker in the NHL back? Rob Zamner. You're going to get a Rob Zamner who maybe will make the final, but are you better off taking a team that loses out in the second round, but the guy gets a bunch of points and lights it up? That's tough. That's a tough one right there. I'm trying to pick the final. It's just been over the last few days here that I have so much stock around the board here as I look at these sheets that we've done in Colorado. I watched them play last night. Very surprising. They didn't really rest anybody. They had, if we go to the box score from last night's NHL games, they looked good. They weren't. Pedal was down. They were going hard. And I was like, wait a minute. Why is everybody playing? Here, Game Center. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm way off.
That hasn't happened before.
Yeah. Thanks. I like I don't know why though, but I'm buying all this Avalanche stock now that everybody else is. Waugh played, Nelson played, Etruscan played. Okay, I'm an idiot. McKinnon didn't play. Landeskog. Is Landeskog still... Is he... Kadri didn't play. Makar played. Taves played, who's been injured. Burns definitely played, so I'm going to penalty. So, the rest of the few guys, 2-0 win over the Seattle Kraken. Lots of talk on that and the Super Draft. Sprinkle of the day. Go play a future if you want. Brought to you by Sports Select. You can make your picks online now. You can generate a QR code. Then you take that QR code to your Lotto Spot retailer, scan it, and there you go. Every bet is 100% legal. Money stays here in the province. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Sports Select. Play responsibly. Riders news. I'm going to talk with Farhan coming up in a bit. Riders signed today former Green Bay Packers kicker Alex Hale. Hale's a global kicker. Guess where he's from?
Australia.
Yes. Kyrgyzstan. He's from Australia. He spent 6 collegiate seasons at Oklahoma State University, suiting up for 29 games for the Cowboys. 13 as a senior. Finished season ranked first in FBS. 2.8 field goals made per game, 9 points per game, ranked 6th among kickers. His 27 field goals ranked second most in a season in Cowboy history. It's the question. Why can the Australians kick a football so well? What are they doing over there? Is it the rugby thing? Is it kicking it through the...
They've got rugby. They've got Australian rules football.
Australian rules football.
Like,
used to watch that on TSN. You don't even remember the battle that we had on TSN. You'd go to that channel and you'd hope it's something good. Please be hockey, please be hockey, please be... And it'd be darts. Please be hockey, please be hockey. Australian rules football. Please be hockey, please be hockey. The Hiram Walker pins game. Bowling. Mind you, nowadays...
Mm-hmm. I've seen lawn bowling on there before. Or, was it sailing GP? Like the sailing Grand Prix.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I have all the ESPNs.
Uh-huh.
Some of the stuff you get on ESPNs is almost like...
On the Ocho?
Roof ball.
I saw that the other day come back up again.
What did Harry send me a little while ago that was on ESPN? And it was just like lots of pickleball. There's a pickleball network in the States. Hardcore stuff.
That doesn't surprise me.
But yeah, Australians being able to kick a ball. I'm going to ask Farhan about this. And people, we got smart listeners out there. Who was the last kicker in the CFL to do both punt and kick?
Wasn't it... Is it Jamie Borum, the rider?
Well, we talked yesterday, and somebody brought up Louis Pasaglia. Who was the last CFL player to kick and punt? And how valuable would that be if you could track down a Canadian that can kick and punt? Jeffrey thinks it's Sean Fleming on the text line, not the eye doctor from from Regina.
Apparently, Sergio Castillo with Winnipeg has done both, although he's primarily a kicker. He's not consistently also a punter. I heard, with when Vinatieri and McAfee were with the Colts, because McAfee punted and did kickoffs. And I've heard that some kickers prefer just to do kickoffs or field goals, because when you're doing a kickoff, you're going just for distance, right? Now there's strategy and aiming here and there to the corners, whatever, pinning it. But I've heard that straining your leg just going for distance there doesn't help you with the accuracy then in field goals, because it's fatiguing your leg in a different way. So I've heard that in a situation where you have a punter who can also kick, who can handle kickoffs, then your field goal kicker can just dial in on field goals and be that much better. Now, that's something I heard. Don't know the realism behind it. But
Notable double duty kickers and punters. Paul McCallum.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Lego. How do you say his name?
Legio.
Boris Beatty. How long ago was that? Hiralahu can do it. Forced into double duties. Sergio Castillo.
There was, I want to say...
Kervedvik?
Lother had to do one game where we had... Like, our punter got injured and we didn't have a backup. So, like...
But then, what's the other rider that did it? We had him on the show last year.
Milo.
Chris Milo.
Yeah.
Did it. Hank Alisic. A legendary CFL punter and kicker in the 80s. Oh, yeah. Hank Alisic. He saw some stuff back in the day. Ivor Wynn.
Oh, boy.
But then that would have been around the Louis Pasaglia as well, too. John Ryan. could do it. Wally Buono? Before his legendary coaching career, Buono served as a punter and linebacker for the Montreal Alouettes.
Yeah, like back when Lancaster was DB and QB.
Don't you think that's kind of the hack, though? And I know it's a different time, and we got professional athletes and all that, but isn't that the hack to try and figure that out again? To go back to that? To find a guy that could do two roles, preferably punting and kicking. But hey, if the guy wants to play cornerback and he wants to kick and he can kick, there's a hack. There's a hack for that.
Yeah, it's not something as like simple, so to speak, as like a DB and receiver or a running back and DB kind of thing. You're trying to look more exotic, maybe, like a linebacker who can kick. That just sounds fun. It also, to me, just thinking of a guy who's built like a linebacker who can also punt the ball, I feel like he's not going to get injured as often when he gets hit as a punter, which would be nice.
I just refreshed my Prairie Line Rentals text line because it was frozen.
Oh boy.
Pat goes, Barney, you're crazy. I'm just laughing. Make sure your guts are clean when you're going to have to eat them. I said a piece. What was it? If Anaheim and
the Kings? No.
Wrong.
Ugh.
Anaheim and the Flyers?
I think that's what it was. I should have written it down.
Or Kings and Flyers. I'll give you guys odds to see it happen. Kings or Anaheim Flyers play in the Stanley Cup final. I'll cut a little piece of my gotch and I'll eat it.
On camera or no?
Sure, obviously. Harry and I used to do that all the time, that stupid thing. We've never had to do it, but he's had to do a bad one. I'm not going to bring it up on the air.
All right.
And it was something to do with his Detroit Red Wings back in the mid 90s. I think it was the Red Wings and St. Louis Blues series when Yzerman blows that puck past John Casey's ears and scores. Dan and Regina, I would love a Habs Kings final. The last one was amazing. Yes, but Wayne Gretzky was in that one. Dan, you don't want to watch the Kings and Habs this year. I want to watch the Habs. The Habs make the Stanley Cup final. I like that. I like that, Jazz. I'm good. But we want the Habs versus Vegas. The Habs versus the Oilers, right? We're all overtaxed. Let's go all Canadian. Habs versus Oilers. Yes, we want to see it. Then Habs versus Vegas would be good. Habs versus Colorado would be good. Habs versus Dallas would be good.
Who else in there? Does Minnesota make it past Dallas? And if they do they make it past Colorado?
Hey, Colson, you bring up a really scary question because it's all of a sudden everybody's writing Minnesota off. They're not deep enough. They don't have this. But they made some acquisitions, and this team's actually built pretty good.
Yep.
I think I might kick myself for not taking more Minnesota North Stars and Montreal Canadiens. Can you clip that? At 3:30 on the 17th, I called myself. Those are the two teams that I could sit here in a month and a half as I'm getting ready to load up and head to the lake and go, yep.
So just make a sheet that's mostly them then you're okay, right?
I only have two left, though, because Sharky...
Well, you can rip one of his up.
I should, on the air. Then we send it to him.
There we go.
Clip.
He only needs one. He doesn't need two.
Roscoe. I'm curious how long it'll take for the 43 centimeters of snow we received to melt. Runoff season. That's good. We need the moisture. Yeah, but this is a lot. This came. Is this the good snow that the farmers like? It just soaks in real.
When I was listening to Ryan Young's Ag Show,
Sharky's listening. Oh, you never know. Maybe come into the studio, Sharky, today.
There we go. But yeah, I think Ryan Young was saying the last couple of days that this is moisture that they'll appreciate. So if the farmers will take it, then that makes it the rest of us feel a little bit better.
Absolutely. And then forest fires up north.
Yeah, that too.
Snow like crazy up north. Speaking of up north, oh mama. Game 1 of the SJHL final starts tonight in Flin Flon, Manitoba. We're still efforting to get to Yorkton on Wednesday. If anyone has a line on lodging and a sports bar that we could do the show at, I think Taps is in the front running. We're talking to Taps. We're trying to get to Yorkton on Wednesday for Game 3. Flin Flon and Yorkton. They go tonight, 7:30 our time. Is that? No, 7:30 Flin Flon time or our time? And then tomorrow back in Flin Flon. And then that's going to be a good series. I'm predicting, this isn't Gitch predicting, I'm predicting a split in Yorkton or in Flin Flon. Then they'd go back to Yorkton, tied 1-1, and then let's get it on because we don't get along, as they say. So that starts tonight. WHL playoffs continue tonight. We're going to get to all that in the ticker. Some more of your text messages. There's a couple of CFL ones here. I wish this thing wasn't so slow and I could pull it. Can't remember the name, but the French guy from the Alouettes you just mentioned, Boris Beatty. Oh, he's talking about double dual kickers. French guy from the Alouettes recently. Another kind of double duty kicker would have been back in the day when your kicker also played another position on the team, like Al Ford, who played pretty much every other position on the team and punted as well, Dino and Regina. Really? No, Al Ford played that many positions. Let's go to break time. When we come out of break, I promise you, we'll give you the keyword for today for the backyard putting green from the Classic Landscape Company and the SportsCage. That's right, we're giving away an installed custom backyard putting green on May 1st. Go to break. We'll come back with that code word and hopefully Farhan Lalji. It's a SportsCage streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Backyard putting green giveaway on the SportsCage. It's coming up May 1st. Custom backyard putting green installed. Little fringe action. We had Mike in the other day. They're doing the real deal. The Classic Landscape Company. So if you don't win, you look yourself in the mirror and say, I still want a putting green. So then you deserve a putting green. You only get one to go at this one time. Treat yourself once in a while. I always said, treat yourself. Buy a hot tub. And now I'm saying buy a backyard putting green. The keyword today that you want to text into 936-6262. Don't text in anything else but the keyword, please. April 17th. Win. W-I-N. Not the casino in Vegas. W-Y-N-N. W-I-N is your keyword. Win. Thank you so much to the Classic Landscape Company for hopping on board with this. They can do anything you need landscaping this season. Throughout the season, you can give them a call. Obviously, if you're not into a putting green, maybe you want synthetic grass, you're sick of cutting it, Classic Landscape Company should be your call. Win is the keyword today. Dean on the Prairie Land Rentals text line says, FYI, Al Ford played defensive back, receiver, running back, and punter. It's a lot of positions. I think they're like, that would be a nice hack though, in this day and age, to have a guy that could do both or two positions at once.
I mean, how many was that? Defensive back, receiver.
That seems like a lot of chances to get injured.
Yeah. Like if you're playing on all three sides of the ball, like defense, special, and offense, like good old high school days, junior football days.
6-man, 9-a-side.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do it all there.
Yeah.
Kicking field goals. Here, there's another question. What's easier?
Punting or kicking field goals?
Punting or kicking. And I think a lot of people go punting is easier because you just kick the ball as far as you can down the field. But you're trying to keep it away from guys. Coffin corner, you're trying to get it out of bounds. You don't want to get it out of bounds too early.
I have seen a lot more punters kick the ball off the side of their foot than I've seen kickers hook a kick.
Oh, I don't know about that, man.
That's just me.
That's you?
That's just me. Other people could be completely opposite of that. I just think I've seen a lot more punters, especially professionally, with a punt, than I've seen kickers miss a kick. Now, there's definitely, if you factor in kicks that don't get off the ground, then it's probably equal. But that's not so much on the kicker.
Oh, I'm going with, I've seen more field goals and kicks missed. Yeah. And then it depends where you play too.
Yeah.
Playing a swirling, always windy, or if you're playing controlled elements where there's only one left.
I want to say it was like 2011, 2012. There's Hamilton's kicker kicked the field goal, and it's going straight and going good. And then they show the side angle, and the ball comes up and then just stops and falls down.
I remember that.
Yeah, before hitting
I remember that.
Before getting the field goals. That was how strong the wind was in Hamilton.
I thought that was in Montreal.
Might have been. It was somewhere East Coast. That's what I remember. And I think the Hamilton kicker was involved, whether it was in Hamilton or in Montreal. But yeah,
Sharky, you have to 4:15 to get here, ripping up one of your super drafts. Although he sent me money, so I can't do that.
Yeah,
but he gets 2. I'm going with partners, friends on that. Really curious if Eric and I can agree on anything during his segment. Let's go to break. Hoping to be joined by Farhan Lalji when we come back. It's a Sports Cage on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM. Ticker, it's game number 1 of the SJHL final tonight in Flin Flon between the Bombers and the Yorkton Terriers. Catch it on our sister station GX 94 in Yorkton, Saskatchewan. WHL tonight, Kelowna's at Everett. Prince George is at Penticton. Great series there. No NHL hockey. The playoffs start tomorrow. Blue Jays in action tonight in Arizona, taking on the Diamondbacks. Sports Ticker. Oh, I'll give you this one too. The Riders signed former Packers kicker Alex Hale. Cup of coffee with the Packers. He's from Australia. Went to Oklahoma State University, so bringing him into camp. It's for Reliance Heath. Water heater, softener, starting at only $1.20 a day. You get $400 cash back when you switch to Reliance Heath.
It's time to get the inside story. TSN's Farhan Lalji on SportsCage is brought to you by the Cooperators. Time to get financially fit? Cooperators can build a plan that works for you. Cooperators, investing in your future together.
Oh, lots of football to talk about today. I know you pulled over on the side of the road to join us. Are you still driving? You're risking it?
I did pull over. Now I got to get back on, and then I'll pull over in a second. At least I'm not having to hold the phone, though. I got a little arm doing that.
Wow. Ajou. You see the release yesterday. Comes down. Did you have any indication that this was happening?
I did not. I do have a sense of what did happen. I think the. Yeah, look, I'm probably not at liberty to say what I know, and and I also don't want to minimize what happened with all of this. So, disappointing situation for all concerned. Like, there's no doubt about it. But a talented player, who had questions when he came into the league, and now questions are going to come up again. My understanding is that there was no physical altercation involved. That doesn't mean anything that happened was right or wrong or anything like that, but there was no physical confrontation. So I'll leave it there, but we'll see what happens here. I mean, it's probably going to take a while before he gets another opportunity, but I think that opportunity at some point will come.
That's what I want to ask. I was going to say, is his career over? Is it in a tough spot?
Yeah, I don't think his career's over. I don't, right? I think in this case, the punishment is probably fit the crime in terms of there's an entry point back in, right? So he's going to have to go do some counseling and some coursework and things like that and to show a level of remorse. And I think once that happens, when you factor that in with the fact that there wasn't a physical altercation involved, I think he will get another opportunity to play again. So, 6 games is the minimum. And I think I would not be surprised if shortly after the 6-game mark, Ajou got signed by somebody and was back on the field before the end of the year.
Wow, you think this season it happens? Because I was going to say, what's the forgiveness statute of limitations in the CFL? Because it's always like, second chance. I'm a changed man. Like you said, I've done the counseling. So you think it's this year he's back on the field?
I do, he doesn't have the history that, let's say, a Chad Kelly did, right? I think there's a need for the player, and I think there's some talent there, and I think that everything is going to kind of be put into context at some point once he shows the level of contrition, remorse, rehabilitation, all of that. Assuming he does all of those things, I do see a scenario where he's back this year. And I don't think we're going to view this in the, as extreme as, let's say, what Chad Kelly had to deal with in terms of a year plus.
I think I got a few text messages yesterday, and people were talking about, well, they shouldn't have got rid of Tommy Neild. Well, Tommy Neild wanted to go get paid, Tommy Neild, and then just didn't work out. Riders are still in a really good spot receiver wise. They got some young guys coming up out of collegiately. Obviously, you want Ajou in the lineup. It's not going to happen now. They're still okay when it comes to receiver.
Yeah, to a point, right? I mean, you got to appreciate that this team started 4 Canadian receivers in the Grey Cup. And I don't know that I see that scenario happening again, right? So, you've still got Kean Schaefer-Baker. You've still got Sam Emelis. Del Duncan Busby kind of becomes your third guy now, right? Because Mitch Picton also, is no longer there along with Neild and Ajou. So, I do think there's some questions there, right? After the top 2 and, is Busby ready to start? Probably is if they feel they need to go that way. And ratio-wise, I think they'll probably have to, right? I mean, what a luxury the Riders had last year to be able to play with 4 legitimate Canadians and have depth behind them and then only have to start 1 Canadian offensive lineman. But, they also lost AJ Allen as well, right? So when I look around every team in the CFL, the team that's going to be having to adjust their ratio the most is the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Because the one thing I was thinking last night, I'm like, I wonder if there's a call to Picton and saying, hey, when's the last time you went for a run? When's the last time you were in a gym?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I mean, you've got to go there, right? You've got to exhaust all opportunities, especially, if your ratio is that receiver dependent, right? So, if they feel they've got to start at least 3 and Busby's the guy, you better have some legitimate options behind him, right? And when you look at this draft, I think there's some solid receivers available.
We'll bring him back. It's okay. He's driving. He parked on the side of a road, the Coquihalla, or wherever in the Pacific side. He's not coming back. Colson's waiting. We left him with. He got us excited with. There are some legitimate. Is that what he said? Receivers. I'm very curious about that. We got Mims and Weeb, 2 young guys, Canadians. Okay, you left us with, there are some good receivers in the draft or something like that.
There's some good receivers in the draft, but there's not necessarily any blazers in the draft, right? Malik Maega is kind of one guy that has played in the NCAA, and he's a guy that ran in the in the 4.4 range, but just didn't necessarily have a ton of production. So I think there's some talent, but I think there's some questions at the receiver spots league wide. Draft wide. So So if you're the Riders, do you go try to get a Canadian offensive lineman in the draft, or do you go, just to kind of create some depth that way, or do you go receiver? and try to build your ratio the same way you did it the last year or closer to that. So I think they've got some questions to get answered there. But, it's a different type of draft just in terms of not having that high-end speed, but potentially having some depth. And, if you can combine those guys with a little bit of waggle to increase their speed, maybe you got something. But if I'm the Riders, I'd probably go offensive line and try to build there because I think organizationally that's a bigger need for them.
Taylor Elgersma signs with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Why now?
Well, I think that he exhausted all options, right? And I know he was trying to get into the UFL, but they simply couldn't get him a work visa. And my understanding is that, the coaching staff and the UFL team that he was with had a lot of time for him and a lot of interest. They wouldn't have invested what they did, but it's a league that can't go out and get work visas for Canadians and international players. They just can't afford that, getting a legal team involved to expediting that. So they just haven't been able to do it. So if you're Taylor, like you've tried, right? He hung around looking for every opportunity to get on a practice roster last year. Didn't happen for him. He showed up at the combine just as an arm, not even as an evaluation guy, but as a guy that was going to throw to, running backs and tight ends. So people weren't even looking at him, but he just wanted to keep his name out there. I think he did everything he could to keep the dream alive. In my opinion, he should have come last year. I think he should have gone to Edmonton around Labor Day, or not Edmonton, sorry, Winnipeg around Labor Day and done everything he could to learn the offense so that this year he could come in and absolutely be the number 2, with an eye towards maybe starting in 2 years if Zach Collaros decides to retire. So, and not necessarily a money thing. We're just talking about an opportunity thing because I just don't think last year he was necessarily going to become more marketable, all of a sudden, right? I mean, he did some good things at training camp with the Packers, but again, U Sports quarterback doesn't have, a long history of film and evaluation and things like that. So I just think that, in my opinion, he should have come last year, but I think he's smart to come here now before camps have opened and put himself in position to potentially win the number 2 job.
We could see him in Saskatoon, that preseason game when Winnipeg rolls in there. Yeah, not that they need to sell tickets for that. It's going to be shoulder to shoulder as it is. Kicker movement. Let's go there. Brett Lawther, Ottawa.
Yeah, well, I mean, he signed. Ottawa signed him to a deal this morning, so he goes there. No, not really a surprise. Kind of a lower cost option to Lewis Ward and the roster bonus that he was doing, things like that. I think they needed to save a little bit of money, so it happened there. There's always a need for a kicker. And the one thing with Ward is that he was always known as an accuracy guy, not necessarily a distance guy. And when his accuracy waned a little bit last year, right? I mean, he kicked the ball better than Lawther did, but then the money gets involved. And then in 2 years, when field goals are going to be longer, right? There's a premium on that as well, right? So if you're the Riders, you've just signed a guy with a stronger leg. And a guy that gets to be classified as a global, right? So who knows what the future is of globals in the league, but he's a guy that can fill that slot for you. So ratio-wise, it's a good thing as well.
As a football guy, coaching, all that, where we've gone, why don't we see it where we have a guy that can do both? I feel like at some point we're going to get back to that hack. Someone's going to figure it out, and it's going to be, wow, this guy can do both, one spot, and maybe he's Canadian.
Yeah, and then maybe that guy's not going to go to the NFL and take a shot down there, right, as well. So it's hard to get that guy. I mean, look, I grew up in the Louis Passagley area where he did both here in BC for a long time. But, you go back to, Dave Cutler Dave Ridgway was a great field goal kicker, wasn't a punter, right? I mean, there aren't many of those that have floated around. So you don't want to take up 2 roster spots with that guy. But right now, I mean, you have some teams that aren't afraid to take up 3 if they need a guy for a long field goal and a guy that's a kickoff guy, right? So I think it's just become more specific of a position. It's just more valuable now. And, you look in the NFL and it's not just about distance. You need to have a lot of clubs in the bag. So you're never going to have an NFL kicker that does both. And I think kickers specialize more at an early age. I think in the CFL, in this country, you try to just be an all-around kicker. But by the time you get to college, you're only doing one, right? Before, the guys would do 2 all the way through college. And now you're seeing less and less of that.
I don't know if you saw this. We got about a minute and a half. I want to throw this to you. I thought this was fascinating, or if you've seen anything like this in your days. Freddie McGee was his name, arrived outside the Detroit Lions facility at 8:45 a.m. the other day with a sign and that he's just wants a shot to try out for the NFL team. Doesn't have an agent. He says he's in the best shape of his life. God put it in my heart. I've had this goal since I was 5, he told ESPN. He's standing outside the practice facility with his cleats and a sign. Did he get on? Did they give him I don't know how you don't give him a shot. Maybe there's legalities and all that, but I love it. I love the ballsy move there. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Give him a shot. I've seen a few posts similar to that. Not necessarily outside the facility, but, guys trying to find different ways to get attention. Come on, Dan Campbell. This guy fits right up your alley. Give the guy a tryout. Bring him in, time him, run a 40, let him run a couple of routes. What could possibly go wrong? And honestly, young man, get yourself to a CFL, off-season mini camp, right? Like, not mini camp, free agent camp. Go and do that.
I'm saying we should start a GoFundMe on the SportsCage to bring him to Saskatoon for Rider Camp. We should start a GoFundMe. Bring him up here.
I think if you took half your vacation budget, that would handle it, no problem.
Hey, you're parked on the side of the.
By the way,
there's a guy in the back seat of your car with a mask and an axe.
Congrats to you and your family and your son for getting to hang around town. You're right. You got signed got assigned by a team in Regina, so you don't have to move. You don't have to drive all over the province.
Yeah.
And I saw the post. He looks like you. So I'm sorry to say that. But he looks like you too. Hopefully he's a better athlete. People tell me that all the time when they see my kid run. Oh, you got speed from his wife, huh? From your wife, huh? True.
Thanks, man. It was an emotional. It was a fun week. Appreciate it. Okay, drive safe home. Talk to you next week.
All right. See you, buddy.
See ya. There he is, TSN football insider Farhan Lalji joining us here on the SportsCage. We'll go to break. We're on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Welcome back. For Nelson Holmes on this Friday, getting ready for the Off the Rails Friday with Eric Francis. Sorry, I'm reading some of these text messages from people. And I can't read them on the air. But they're funny. They're comical. Craig in Yorkton. Hey, Craig in Yorkton, if we do the show there on Wednesday, where should we do it from, by the way? He's saying, I think the current playoff format, a bracket, and not reseeding, there are less possible outcomes. So if you have to load up on your final 4 teams in the Super Draft and probably hope for upsets. Notice Philly is not an option on the sheet. Yeah, they don't have Philly on the sheet. But they had 7 teams who ended up missing, I think because Philly went on an absolute run there near the end. But yeah, anyway, you can write in the Philly players. If you want to go big Philly players in the Kenaston Super Draft, you write them in on the bottom. Lotto, Lawrence, and I are going to do one in hour 3. Lawrence has won money. Hiroshi in this thing, so it'll be fun to do that. And then I'm going to do one with Eric Francis, which he's standing by. Let's go.
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the Sports Cage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Sports Select. Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportsselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto spot retailer.
You know that I like my music on this day in music history, and we've talked about that. This is an interesting one today. I don't know where you land on these guys, so I'm curious to get your take. On this day in music history in 1991, Nirvana, however you say it, appeared at the OK Hotel in Seattle, where they played a new song, Smells Like Teen Spirit, live for the first time ever. Other local bands such as Mudhoney, Tad, Mother Lover Bone, and Soundgarden all appeared at the club, which has now been turned into a residential property. Where do you land on Nirvana? That's why we're good for each other, because that's exactly what I would have said.
Yeah, like I understand they've got a cult following. I appreciate that, but it's just another one of those examples when you die young, people make you just get elevated. You know, I don't know. They're fine. I don't know. I couldn't I probably know a half dozen of their songs or a dozen of their songs because they're all real toe tappers. But I couldn't name a single one of them other than the one you just named. Like, I don't know the names. I don't know. I'm not a huge music guy. I was more into garbage rap, like growing up. Like, Beastie Boys are my favorite group of all time. And
Really?
so, yeah.
You know what? It's too bad the one guy died, because that would have been, let's say, over the last 10 years, that would have been a really good group to kind of see later. Like, hey, they're coming back out on a tour.
100%. And like, I'd put Run DMC in the same category. Like, these were the groups in my formative years when I fell in love with music. And I remember seeing Run DMC live, Beastie Boys live, and Two Live Crew, and all these junk. Like, you know, I don't want to lump those in together, but DMC and Beastie Boys touring together now would be massive. And for people like you and I, yeah, they'd sell out every massive stadium in the world.
You know, we could throw in there. I don't even know if he'd be the opener though, but we'd just do a full day festival then, and we'd go LL Cool J.
Oh yeah.
And Public Enemy.
Oh my God! All in the same era. You nailed it. I could do that.
I have all those CDs. If you ever come over, we'll put them on my Alpine and we'll cruise around.
Do you still have the CD holder in your car? You have that on your visor?
I got it for Christmas. One of the visor ones. Yeah. Hold on. Grab that one there. What is that? Eric B. and Rakim. Or no, grab that Third Base. Remember Pop Goes the Weasel? That was their only song.
Oh my God. Paid in full, Eric B. A lot of my friends call me B. Eric B. From Eric B. and Rakim. It's just ridiculous. I'm not proud of it.
What about the Fushnikins? Do you remember those guys?
No, not familiar with it.
Ring the Alarm. Maybe that was just a Sasky thing. Eric B. or Rob Bass, DJ Easy Rock.
Oh, It Takes Two is a top 5 song of all time in my books. And so recently, this is kind of interesting. Friends of ours come to our cottage every year, and they brought a book about 3 years ago, a book of lists, and they put their top 100 songs of all time on it. And the idea was then my wife and I would put our top 100 songs of all time and then start a new list, like could be top 10 chocolate bars, could be anything we wanted, hand it back to the top 50 movies, and then they would fill in theirs, and then they'd come up with the next topic back and forth. It's kind of a lot of fun, but that's the first time in my life I've ever done like a top 100 songs, and it's an interesting, if anyone's ever done that, top 50, top 100, you can really sink your teeth into it, and you're always coming up with, I forgot about this one or that one. But It Takes Two by Rob Bass, DJ Zarok is top 5 or 10 in my life, but maybe the number one song in my life, and this is so most people will cringe and go, "You're a loser," but maybe
Give me a hint. Let me guess. Let me guess. Give me a hint.
It's a Canadian rapper.
Maestro Fresh West.
Let Your Backbone Slide.
Let it slip, let the rhythm rip while the lyrics leave my lip, ladies and gentlemen, kids of our ages. Oh,
kids of all ages.
He laughed so hard. Okay, there. Where are you, by the way? That's not your house.
I'm at the Dome. There's a long day here, garbage bag day at the Saddle Dome. All the players, we trucked through 22 players and the GM and the coach, and not a single interesting thing came out of it. I got to be honest, not a single interesting thing.
So don't read your articles?
Craig Conroy. Yeah, well, no, yeah, I don't want people not to read my article, but like I just filed a call. The only interesting thing I come up with is people in this market have craved this organization to finally just say, we're not doing short-term deals anymore. It's all about the long term. Like it's always about every year. It's like, well, let's regroup and try to make the playoffs next year. And finally, the GM is saying, and his actions will speak louder than words, but he's saying it's anything we do from now moving forward is long term for the next 10 years. So no, we're not doing anything just to try and get into the playoffs next year. And so I think that's music to a lot of people's ears, because for 30 years I've covered this team. They've never exhibited patience ever. They've never thought long term. It's always, what are we going to do to get into the playoffs next year? And so if they actually follow through on their, on what most people want them to do, which is long term. It'll be a refreshing change for this organization.
Okay, before we get into our super draft, and I know you haven't had a lot of time, so that'll even make it more fun. I need you to regroup. We're going to pull up the picture. We last week it was bad purchases that we've all made clothing-wise. I bought a leather jacket in Boston with fur around. I brought it home. My wife was like, "What? I never wore it." I ended up giving it away. I brought this up the other day, and I showed her the picture that you said, because you brought up a hoodie. Where did you buy? Take us through the story again where you bought this hoodie as we pull the picture up.
Well, there's a place in town called Espy where I get most of my casual clothing, some dress clothing, but mostly casual. And I go crazy in there every year. Every fall, I go nuts and refresh I'm a big clothes hound, right? I just love dressing well. And this was kind of a last minute addition when I popped in to pick up all the altered pants that I bought. And I'm like, oh, that is friggin' gorgeous. And it's $150 for this hoodie. It's got paisley. It's mostly brown. I don't wear a lot of base brown. It's kind of an old man thing to wear. And I think it's really funky. And I wore it in my family's holiday in Cabo a lot. And my family came clean on the fact that they think it's the ugliest thing I've ever worn in my life. So I totally disagree. I think they're crazy, but whatever. When I left to go away on a 2-week trip with the Flames, I put it in the one frame in our house with a framed jersey. It used to have like a Olympic jersey signed by Iggy and Sidney Crosby. I took it out and I put my hoodie in, which they just showed on the broadcast there. And I waited for my family to react, and react they did. They were disgusted, but they did admit it was kind of funny. And you said you'd pull the same sort of move, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. When I told my wife the story, I said, and I told them, and she goes, "That sounds like something you would do." And I'm like, absolutely. Yeah. While listening to 90s rap music, I would have been putting it in a frame. So, oh man, that's an all-timer. And I don't think it looks that bad. People that aren't watching the stream, you don't see it. It's not a bad looking tarp. It looks like breathable. Like you could wear it when it's not super cold. It's kind of like a fall. Yeah.
It was. I was bringing it on the road when I'd go on road trips with the Flames, and you can't go into an arena in the U.S. like even when we're in California, Florida, like wearing a short sleeve shirt. It's freezing in those arenas, right? And I got to go in for morning skate and all this. And that was my go-to top. And none of the players said anything, but now that I think about it, maybe the entire dressing room was mocking me behind my back. It wouldn't be the first time. I had a pair of, I don't know, a couple of pastel colors. We'll say they're lavender jeans, okay? Lavender jeans. I know that's not pretty typical. But like I said, I like to think I'm fashion forward. I wore them into the dressing room one day, and my colleague, Ryan Leslie, took a photo of me talking with one of the players and put it on the broadcast to outright shame me, talking about how it must be Easter because I was wearing nothing but pastels. And I haven't worn them since. It shamed me. So maybe those will be coming to a frame near you.
No, send us. I said a suit, or maybe send us something so we can hang it up with all of our jerseys in the SportsCage studio, and it'll stand out, and people will come in and go, "Oh," because people always come in and go, "It's cool in here." Yeah, that's a lot of jerseys, and they go, "Oh, Blades, Yorkton, Notre Dame, Bedard, some local teams," and then they'll go, "What's with the suit?" And be like, "That's Eric Francis."
That's so funny because the PR guy here, I give him my old suits, and I just brought him a bunch of suits today because we're similar size, and I never know what to do with old suits. Like, we're lucky in my business. Every year I get 4 or 5 new suits, and they start to add up. And what do you do with an old suit? I was thinking about starting a charity where we give it to people who are trying to get jobs and go for interviews, but nobody wears suits anymore, so I don't know. Like, you know.
Your wife will end up taking the hoodie. She'll put it in the bag.
Yeah.
The donation bag.
Well, that's going. Like, I'm a hoarder, so my wife, she's always throwing stuff away without me knowing, or at least she claims she does, and she says, "Well, you don't know what's missing." And it's like a little game we play. It's probably the biggest tension point in my marriage. We don't ever argue, but that is one thing that drives her nuts. So I just want to keep collecting stuff and cluttering my house.
My wife and I are both hoarders when it comes to clothes. So it's not that's probably the worst part of our relationship. It's like I got to get rid of. Like there's some shirts I'm never fitting again, but I can't let them go. I just can't.
So you know the trick, right? So you read these things about decluttering in the New York Times and stuff. Every year at some point, like could be January 1st or could be the end of spring or summer or whatever, turn all of your hangers up backwards, right? So you hang them backwards. And then at the end of the year, all the ones that weren't turned the other way because you wore them, you got to throw them out. Like it's a great idea.
Yeah.
But I tried it and I still am not throwing any of them out. Like, so, nice try, New York Times, but you don't really know what you're talking about.
Okay. It's the Kenaston Super Draft. Kenaston's, a town about 45 minutes south of Saskatoon, so an hour and 15 minutes north of Regina. Since 1984, it's the Super Draft. It used to be in the hockey news, and that's how people would fill these out. Then they'd mail them back in. It's been got $80,000 up for grabs. 20,000 is first place. This isn't a joke. This is real deal. So I have 7 entries. Well, Sharky and I, who's on Thursday, Sharky and I have 7 entries. He muscled me into 2 on his own. Then the rest of mine I'm doing with contributors. So you and I are going to do one. It'll be Shynkaruk and Francis or whatever we can fit in. So we got to pick 32 players. Most points, it's pretty easy. I think we start with teams instead of just sprinkling teams that are going to be out in the first round. First and foremost, let's start in the East. Who do you think, when you look at the bracket, who do you think the 2 teams that are going to be in the Eastern Conference Final are?
Tampa is winning the cup. So
really?
Winning the cup. Yeah. Right.
Okay, well, let's start with there.
If we disagree, then we'll have to enter separate sheets here. But
I was hoping you were going to say Montreal.
I have to question the legitimacy of this pool, and I know you say it's historic, and I don't really want to throw shade on this thing, but they spelled Pittsburgh wrong. They spelled Penguins with a Q. They've got Detroit Red Wings in there. I'm not sure if they got the memo, but they didn't make it. Philadelphia's not on here. Again, I see holes.
No.
I see holes.
Because they put out the sheets so early that there's always the teams that were in the hunt that you got to cross off your Detroits. You got to cross off your Islanders,
Columbus.
Washington.
Yeah.
You got the missing the Flyers was an interesting one. No, but this thing's legit. Okay, so you want to go heavy Tampa Bay. When you say heavy Tampa Bay, do we take every single guy? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 players. Who's injured for Tampa Bay, Colson? Tampa Bay Lightning injured players.
No, I'm not. You don't take all those guys. I don't know. Hey, I don't think I've ever won a playoff pool. I think there's just too much luck involved in the playoff pools. I like to sprinkle the love. I think it's Tampa Bay and Carolina in the East Final, and
like everybody.
And so, yeah, I know, right? So, newsflash, but I wouldn't mind throwing in the odd, Sabre in there. I try to pick the top scorer on several different teams.
Okay, give me 3 guys from the Sabres you like.
I like David Pastrnak with Boston, but I know they play Buffalo. So anyway, I don't Tage Thompson's an absolute stud. So put him down.
Checking him off.
Rasmus Dahlin's going to pick up a ton of points.
Okay, taking him.
Yeah, and if I don't know, I wouldn't go too much deeper than that. I mean, I do like Zucker. He plays with. What
about Tuck?
Thompson?
Okay, let's take Zucker.
Tuck in there. No, take Tuck. Take Tuck.
Where's the bracket? Where's the bracket, Colson? You know what? I know you said you like Tampa Bay. And you'll have them winning the cup. I was going to say, if you wanted to go heavy Buffalo. Do you just want to go 3 or 4 Buffalo?
No, because Buffalo's going to play Tampa, right?
Okay, so then who are the Tampa guys you like? We got 4 Buffalo guys. Who are the Tampa guys? Kucherov, Getzel,
Hagel and Gensel. Don't touch Hedman. He's hurt, and he's just had a horrific season. Like, he might come back. Darren Radish has been their number one point guy. He's been phenomenal.
Well, he's going to touch the puck a lot then.
Yeah, he's going to get the puck a lot. He had a huge year. Braden Point is going to bounce back. He's one of the best playoff performance guys in the last decade.
Okay, we got 5. We got 5 there then.
5. That's good enough for me.
We got 5 there. Can we take one more Buffalo Sabre to make an even 10 out of the East then?
Sure, add Zucker.
Took him. Zucker, Tuck, Thompson, Darlene. We got Doan, McLeod, Norris, Quinn, Samuelson, or Byram. Who touches the puck a lot?
I like McLeod of all those guys, to be honest. I know you didn't name him, but
I did.
My computer screen just went. I just ran out of battery from a long day here at the Dome, so I can't see the sheet anymore.
Okay, so we got 10 guys. Now who? Oh, this is where we could get. Who are the 2 teams in the West that we're going to take 5 from?
I think you win these pools by picking the big upset, and I think Edmonton's going to the final. I know that makes it's disgusting. I know. See, we're not going to agree on this, so we should probably just enter our own. Let's just enter our own. But for the sake of this exercise, I'm going with an upset. Look, Edmonton has the easiest ride to get to the final, the conference final. That's why you take them. That is a war of attrition that Colorado's got to go through in their side of the bracket.
You think Edmonton's getting through Vegas?
Yeah, I do. Edmonton's been playing without Hyman and Draisaitl. I'm assuming they're going to get them both back. I haven't had my head up to see what the latest status of Draisaitl is today or lately. I generally try to ignore that city and anything that comes out of it. But it hurts me to say this, that I think they're going through to the final, but they'll find a way to make their goalie stand out. If we're taking Oilers, Evan Bouchard would be second only to McDavid, and you probably got to put Draisaitl in there because at some point he's coming back. Nugent Hopkins.
I don't know. I've never gone on one, but people that go on blind dates and and then they kind of go, this ain't going to work out. Let's or job interviews. It's I think we're going to have to let you go, Eric. I like your taste in music, but I don't think you and I are entering a draft.
No, that's fair. You're going to go with Colorado, like the whole world's going to do. So
no, you know what? No, I said I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Okay, Edmonton Oilers. So obviously, one, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Bouchard, Hyman. If we're taking Nuge, okay, so there's 5.
Yeah.
Okay, now who's the other West team?
Well, I'm still game for taking Colorado. So.
Makar. Do you know what? They don't have Taves in there. Do you want to write Taves in, or do you want to go with forwards? We got Makar, McKinnon,
Lehkonen, Kadri,
Natchez. 4. Natchez makes 5.
Nichushkin. We're taking 6 from those guys. I mean,
what about Taves? What about Devon Taves?
He's not a huge point guy. No, I would
6. Okay, now we got to sprinkle in just
Wyatt Johnston and Mikko Rantanen.
I like that. I'm going to agree with you on that. Wyatt Johnson.
Heiskanen's hurt.
Mikko Rantanen.
And Matt Duchene. If you're going a third guy, go Duchene.
Okay.
I think this is terrible radio. You know my rule. No talking about pools with anybody who's outside of your pool. We're talking to your listeners, and they have to listen to us go through our crappy picks. Now, maybe you would argue we're helping people with their picks. I don't know, but I don't know.
No, we're getting text messages, and we did yesterday with people saying, "You guys are missing out." But I think we're good. What about maybe putting in a couple of
Vegas?
So we got, yeah.
Eichel.
Marner
and Stone. Those guys are playoff studs.
I'm taking Barbashev because I like him.
Okay.
4.
I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight about that.
I think we
I
pretty
would
much.
I would take Dorofiev before I take Barbashev. But either way,
let's
I
take
want
him
you to
too
be
then.
happy.
But we're gonna.
Okay.
This is a stupid pool because we're losing somebody, but maybe they'll get a bunch of points because when Edmonton loses to Vegas, we're losing a bunch of Edmonton guys.
Yeah.
You really think who's playing goal for Edmonton?
I don't know, and I don't care. They're going to use both goalies like they do every year, and they're still going to get to the final. And I think I make the pick based on the fact that it's just nobody in Calgary wants that, and it just hurts, So if it's gonna hurt, at least profit from it. But Vegas does not impress me. I've seen them several times lately. I know they're capable of it. Their goaltending is as big a question mark as Edmonton's.
Okay,
Edmonton has such an easy ride.
You leave next Wednesday?
Yeah.
What time's your flight? Is it the red eye?
No, I'm leaving at 1 o'clock because I'm going through Toronto to Dublin.
Okay,
we can pre-tape? We can pre-tape something if you want.
No, what I was thinking, it would be a shame. What do we got? An 8-hour time difference in Dublin to here? It'd be a shame not to do a hit while you're there to get a lay of the land and everything. No, I'll
do it. Let's do one from Dublin. I'll give you the sports report from Dublin.
playing Maestro Fresh West in the background.
Oh my God! I think you'd be shot, wouldn't you, in Dublin if you were playing that?
No. You might start something. Have you ever seen him on Jerry D, on Mr. D? Maestro Fresh West is the teacher.
So I turned 50 recently, we'll say. And I was going to hire him. I thought, you know what? I'm going to hire Maestro Fresh West. But what my concern was, he's got 2 songs. Like, where does he go for the 3rd song? So I'm going to pay this guy. I'll pay him 10 grand, 15 grand. I don't know what he costs. I have no idea. Like, there's a good question for the listeners. What does anyone think it costs to bring in a washed up Canadian rapper with 1 hit? Like, is that 10 grand? And what does he show up with? Like an amp and a microphone? That's it?
For sure.
He stands on it?
For sure. Well, he's not bringing a band. He's not bringing a DJ with him. He could play.
How about background dancers?
He'd expect you to, if you want background dancers, you find some background dancers. Yeah, go down the belt line and see what you can track down and bring them. Okay.
That's right. I'd put on that hoodie and wear that, and I used to be a break dancer, so I'd spin on it.
Oh, did you have one of those boards? Did you take your board or whatever they danced on?
We always joked, like all these white guys in the Rockomatic crew in Mississauga, the mean streets of Mississauga. Our parents were always getting new refrigerators and freezers, so we had some sweet cardboard to practice our craft. One day I'll tell you the story about how we made our professional debut at the Cadbury Crunch Breakdown at the exhibition in Stampede, or the CNE in Toronto, and we performed. And right after us was a crew from New York. Our big move, these talentless white guys, our big move at the end was one guy did the worm, right? And we all pointed at him, and we thought we were really good. We go backstage, and the next up from Brooklyn, and these 8 dudes start spinning on their head as their opener. All 8 guys simultaneously. And the Rockomatic crew disbanded and never broke together again. A sad story.
And I know we're too old to try it now. When's the last time you honestly tried to do the worm?
Oh, God. That would ruin my spine. My golf game would be over.
I tried. I think I was in my late 20s, and we were all hot. We're drunk, and I tried doing it in my late 20s. I sacked myself so bad. Oh. I was on a commission for the rest. I'm like, what did we do this for? This is so dumb.
My God.
Okay, we're gonna have to do one from Dublin. Maybe Wednesday I'll bring in Brent Cron, and then maybe Friday night in Dublin, you'll be, I'm sure, in good spirits. We'll bring you on for it then.
I love it. Thanks.
What's a sacroiliac?
What's a sacroiliac? It's like a backpack.
Rap sack backpack.
Backpack.
You better listen to that on the flight.
Okay, I'll bone up on my backbone slide, and then one day we could have a rap battle if you want, but it's got to be all Beastie Boys. I know the words to every song. We'll have a rap battle, and it'll be the worst radio. It'll be worse than picking your hockey pool picks on the radio.
My go-to is crisscross jump for karaoke, so I can do that, and then you do Beasties.
You know, I saw crisscross at Wembley Stadium in front of 100,000 people. They opened for Michael Jackson. And those little buggers were talented. Both songs they had were really good. They wore their clothes backwards. Those guys would have looked good in that hoodie I wear.
What was the name of your breakdancing crew?
Well, we when we performed at one time, we were the Rock-O-Matic crew, but on the streets, we were known as the Funk-O-Matic crew. Like 2 streets we were known. 2 streets knew us. That's it. Ridiculous. Losers.
Get some T-shirts made. Get T-shirts made for the fellas.
Well, because again, we could afford some sweet Puma slicks. Like we had these that was really the only thing we had going for us was we matched really well. Our phys ed teacher had an in with Puma. The first time Puma was cool, and then it went away for like 30 years, and now it's kind of cool again. God, I'm old.
And from Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy.
Lowest moment in my performance career, like by far, until we did our pool today.
I'm going to, I don't know if I'm submitting this. So, yeah, I just had a text message and all it said was, that pool, be careful. So I might, but anyway. Okay,
yeah,
travel.
Did anyone else message anything today? We had solved nothing and spoken of nothing. This is as talentless as my breakdance crew.
Rock-O-Matic crew coming at you live from Mississauga. Boom. Sam the Record Man. Yeah. All right, travel safe. Listen to some 90s rap on the way.
Word. Peace.
Word to your mother.
Word to your mother. Yeah, exactly.
See it, Dolores. My mom's name's Dolores. Word to Dolores.
Word to Dolores. Peace.
See ya.
Out.
NHL Insider, 90s Rap Insider. Eric Francis is brought to you by Sports Select. You generate your picks online with a QR code now. Every bet is 100% legal. Must be 18 plus to play and play responsibly. We did Sprinkle of the Day earlier. Off the Rails Friday with Eric. We have to do one from Dublin next week somehow, some way. It's a SportsCage. We'll be right back. If you missed it last night, Macklin Celebrini with his 113th, 114th, 115th points of the season against the Winnipeg Jets, franchise record for most in a season, passing Joe Thornton.
Will Smith for Macklin. Off his skate to Klingberg. Back for Celebrini. He scores! He's done it!
History for the San Jose Sharks. Macklin's just going to get it.
If you're listening on radio, he got the puck in the quick hands and snapshot. Yeah, so he passes Joe Thornton. He's 19 years old. He's 19 years old. 115 points sets the record. We got Matt Savoy.
Yep.
Oh, what a night. What a night for him. If you can play the goal.
Delayed penalty coming on Vancouver. So this is a 6-on-5. Bouchard, McDavid. Wanders to the left back for a one-timer. Hat-trick! Matt Savoy, the first of his NHL career. 4-1 Edmonton.
Shots 2 for 5. Beer 2 for 550 at the back. Matt Savoy, hat-trick. Wow. And Connor McDavid chipping in, former Moose Jaw Warrior. Winnipeg Ice, shout out to you guys too. Sherwood Park Crusader, Dubuque Fighting Saint. Matt Savoy, hat-trick in the NHL. Those are our clutch performers for Cal and Solar. Do you have one?
I got a grouping, if you will.
A grouping?
And this is why.
Is it Rock-O-Matic? No. Eric's old breakdancing?
No, it's not. So, you've been talking, you're going to regret not taking the Montreal Canadiens, right? So, they are the third team since 1994 to have a 100-point player, a 50-goal scorer, and a 70-point defenseman. The only other teams to do it since 94 are the 23-24 Edmonton Oilers and the 23-24 Colorado Avalanche. So they've been on fire this year. Of course, that's a regular season thing. It all comes down to what you do in the playoffs. But
I'm not submitting this pool that Eric and I did. I'm gonna make the executive decision. Cutting room floor. We're leaving it on the cutting room floor. I'm gonna do one. And I am going to take Montreal Canadiens. So,
there we go.
Clutch performer for Kellen Solar. If you're thinking solar, saving some money, call them. They'll come out and quote. If it's your farm, house, cabin, they can get you what you need when it comes to solar. Local company from Lumsden, Saskatchewan, Kellen Solar. Let's go to break. We come back. We are going to talk to Darryl Wolski, junior hockey, pro hockey, college hockey advisor, agent, on what is going on in the landscape and the transfer portal. It's a Sports Cage. We'll be right back. It doesn't get any bigger than the... Game 7 tonight. SJHL League Final. Flin Flon Bombers hosting the Yorkton Terriers. It does start at 6:30 our time because Manitoba does the weird time change thing. It's game 1. If you want to listen to the game, you can hear it with Benny Walchuk on GX 94, starting at 6:15 p.m. with the pregame show. Western Hockey League playoffs tonight. The Prince George Cougars are at Penticton. That best-of-7 series has been all road teams. Tied 2-2. Kelowna Rockets, again, trying to stay alive in Everett against the powerful Silvertips. Everett leads 3-1 there. Major League Baseball tonight. Blue Jays are playing in Arizona. 7:40 first pitch. And the Riders inked former Packers kicker today, Alex Hale. He's a global kicker. A cup of coffee with the Green Bay Packers. Let's use that loosely. Oklahoma State University. So they're bringing him into camp. More than just hockey, extreme hockey and sport, baseball, lacrosse. 3 locations, McIntyre Street, that is the staple. Also the Cooperator Center, where I was buying skate laces this morning. And in Moose Jaw now, at Temple Garden Center. They're local, they support local extreme hockey and sport. We're having some audio issues with our next guest, Darryl Wolski, advisor when it comes to hockey and all that. We'll go to break, we'll try and get that figured out. It is a Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Welcome back. It's for Nelson Homes, home packages, and RTMs for over 65 years. Colson is with me. A lot of guests joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Oh, Western Pizza on Friday. Pizza pie, all the toppings, cheese, or the Greek favorites you love. Don't sleep on the lasagna. Call your local or stop into your local Western Pizza tonight. We're going to order on the Western Pizza guest hotline in moments. I want to give this Classic Landscape Company in the Sports Cage giving away that putting green, custom-made backyard putting green, May 1st. Today's keyword when you text in 936-6262, all you want to text in the word win. WIN to 936-6262 if you want to be entered. Thanks to the Classic Landscape Company. Western Pizza guest hotline. Darryl Wolski is joining us. Darryl, we got about 7.5 minutes here, so I want to get right down to it. Thanks for doing this again. I saw your.
Sorry about the technical difficulty.
That's all right. Say sometimes it happens. Trust me. I noticed this the other day in that tweet. There were a lot of Arizona State University kids. What are they? 3rd year, 4th year D1 hockey program. Just looks like a fantastic. I've spent a lot of time in Arizona. Fantastic place to play hockey, but there are kids from there going into the portal, some big names. The portal, NCAA hockey, are we seeing it more now this year from what you're seeing?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think what the Arizona State situation was, like, and I've talked to players that went into the portal, and they just hated the coaches. They felt there's no development. And sure, it's, playing in Phoenix, probably the best place to play in temperature-wise, climate-wise, girls-wise, facility-wise, but guys hated the coaches. As simple as that. That's like 12 guys went into the portal from a place you'd think that guys would want to be at. It's not like playing at Alaska or Long Island, or playing at Lindenwood or one of these smaller D1 programs, or Tennessee or something like that, or Maryville. Pretty good place being in Phoenix, but players just didn't like the coaches.
How does the portal work?
Well, how it works is the player has to tell his, either if they have like say North Dakota, they have Bryn Chizek, who's like their GM. Not many teams have GMs. You know, it's not like Marps at University of Alberta. Not many teams have GMs. So they go to their coach or their GM and they say, hey, I'm done. I'm sorry. I really enjoyed it. And be like George Costanza on Seinfeld. I'm going to leave on a high note. And, you know, and that's what they say. Hey, I'm going to go to the portal. But here's the problem with the portal is, say you're a kid with 2 points. What team's going to want you?
Mm-hmm.
That's $1 million question. So you can go in the portal, and then all of a sudden you're playing at University of Manitoba because nobody wanted you, you know, or they don't want to go to Division III hockey because it's expensive. So they go, well, I'm just going to go play U Sports. I'll go play in Ottawa or Vancouver, Regina, Winnipeg, whatever, and they'll go to a U Sports team. But the portal is very busy, as you can see. I think that there's going to be federal legislation that's going to go through with Donald Trump that he's going to pass it that guys can only go in the portal once, not every year.
What schools, and then we talked about ASU, and then obviously we just watched Denver. We had Boston Buckberger on the show Tuesday of this week. Great young man, by the way. What schools are we not seeing any kids enter the transfer portal from?
Well, you know, like even people would assume that the holy grail of college hockey is University of North Dakota. And even from those programs, you know, like those high-end programs, University of Minnesota, Boston, Michigan. See, what happens is a lot of those guys end up being third and fourth line guys, or they're third-string goalies, or they're seventh or eighth defensemen, or they're the grocery sticks on the team, basically dividing the forwards and defensemen on the bench, never playing. So those guys go, you know, I'm going to get out of here. I want to go somewhere where I can play. But, you know, it's kind of cool and sexy. Hey, I'm playing for Minnesota. Hey, I'm playing for North Dakota. Hey, I'm playing for Boston. I'm going to play Michigan. Those are the cool teams, you know, and not necessarily playing for Lindenwood or Alaska or Long Island or Maryville or Sacred Heart are cool teams to play for. So I think you're seeing now a lot of guys from those, like your question is like, I think most programs have lost at least a few players.
It's interesting, though, because it's kind of giving the players, I guess, some authority as well, because for years we heard of teams decommitting or basically pulling scholarships from kids. Now players can have it. I think there might be, personally, and I've never had to go through it, so I don't know. It seems like doing it more than once, yeah, that would get a little bit old. What about, I want to ask you about this, and I don't know how much you know about this. What about the Ivy League schools? When it comes to kids transferring there, because you got a different standard when you go to these Ivy League schools.
Well, that's why I think you see a lot of problem with the CHL. Like a lot of those CHL guys, they're just not on that academic basis of a, you know, like when a place like RPI, for example, or Dartmouth, you know, they want guys to be 3.9, 4.0 GPA. You know, or maybe a guy could come out playing for the Brandon Wheat Kings and have be a 2.9. Well, he can't go there. He's just not academically there. So that's another issue. And also, too, if you don't get a great scholarship, and I tell you what, going to RPI or Quinnipiac or Dartmouth, those are like $70,000 a year. And I'm not talking Canadian money. So it's like $100,000 Canadian.
Very interesting. What are the youngest that kids and are starting to talk to schools, or is it the advisors? Is it you guys? What's the youngest?
I've had a 12-year-old talk. I've had a team call me about a 12-year-old. I can't say the name, but you know, schools have called me about a 12-year-old I'm working with. I know that other agents in Western Canada, I know that they got guys that are like, you know, like you look in Brandon, you look at that, you know, you look at the Nickel boys. Well, the Nickel boys in Brandon are getting a lot of attention, you know, so, you know, maybe they go play a couple years, like, I mean, his brothers played a few games this year in Everett, but I mean, like those young guys like that are now becoming schools are going, well, we're going to put these guys on the radar screen. But they can only communicate through me until the player is actually it's January 1st of their grade 10 season, or when they're in grade 10, and January 1st, teams can then text and communicate with those players, but not until January 1st.
Sorry, I say that January 1st of your grade 10 year? Or
Yes. In the meantime, they can talk to me, because otherwise it's kind of quote-unquote tampering.
Yeah.
I really don't know what the NCAA term is for that, by the way. If a team was to reach out, like I know that UNLV, which is an ACHA team, I know the ACHA is club hockey and they have different rules, but they're phoning anybody and they're offering NIL money to go play in Vegas, go play club hockey. They're giving guys $25-50 a year to go there.
So then you would use that money towards the schooling with financial aid?
This would be over and above schooling. Schooling would be free, and they would get, this is their kind of quote-unquote NIL money that they're offering. Like UNLV maybe is in a unique position to a lot of ACHA teams because I think that what UNLV is going to try and do is like what Maryville has done, what Tennessee's done.
ASU?
They're going to try and move up to Division I.
Yeah. I did hear that, I think, last year. What's your take on WHL as this is still very new with everything, but with 16-year-olds playing in the Western Hockey League, it was probably more popular. I'm hearing word that people think we're going to see less 16-year-olds play in the Western Hockey League. Maybe they play another year Triple A Midget, but maybe they go play a Junior A, an SJHL, MJ kind of thing. What's your take there?
Well, my take there is, first of all, I was wrong with this whole CHL thing. I was totally wrong with this, and what I mean by that was I didn't think these CHL guys would bend over backwards to be going to college and committing when they're 18 or 19, and I didn't see that coming. But, to answer your question with the 16-year-olds, I personally haven't heard anything like that there's going to be more or less 16-year-olds playing. I think that you're going to see, like, if a kid's like a first-round draft pick, like, if he's a Maddox Schultz, for example, that's a different story. But, if he's just an average Western Hockey League draft pick, I don't think he's going to play less or more. And I don't think that, from what I can see, that at that 16-year-old age or even 17-year-old age, I don't see guys, hang on the SJ or the AJ or BCHL for an extra year. I haven't seen that, and I haven't heard that really.
We got about a minute and a half left, and I want to wrap it up. The U.S. draft and the WHL this year. What do you think changes when it comes to the prospects draft in the WHL with no U.S. draft?
Well, I think you're going to see now is Western Hockey League teams in the past have really gone hard after Texas kids, after California kids, and Minnesota kids. In the past, Minnesota kids are like, well, no, I'm not going to Western Hockey League. Are you crazy? Now they're going to go, well, maybe I'll go to Western Hockey League for a year or two, then go play for the Gophers or go play in Kamloops, and then I'm going to go to North Dakota for a couple of years. I think you're going to see a difference with more American kids, especially in those non-traditional CHL markets like Minnesota. Those kids are, I'm not saying you're going to see a huge difference because a lot of those kids want to play high school hockey in Minnesota. They want to play Breck, they want to play whatever. They want to play Maple Grove, Edina, Cake Eaters in Medina, whatever. They still all want to still have that glory playing in the state championship at in St. Paul. So I think that's the big difference with the U.S. import draft. I think you're just going to see more players coming to the league from the U.S. And I think you're going to see kids as young as 17 come to the league.
Will they draft them, or will they just protect them, or just invite them up?
Probably a combination of all the above. Like, you look at the Pats, and they've had some stronghold in Minnesota, for example, with scouting, and that PA's had that too. PG's had that. Red Deer's had that. They've had a real strong presence with their scouting in Minnesota. So I think that you're going to still see kids getting drafted for sure, because even if they put a 6th-round draft pick into a kid who is a decent Minnesota player, it's worth it for a 6th-round pick. They're maybe not going to blow a 1st or 2nd-round pick, but they might go 6th or 7th.
Okay, we're up against the clock here. We'll have to catch up again, though, shortly, because still more to get to. Appreciate your time today. Sorry about the technical difficulties on both ends.
No, that's on my end, so my apologies, guys. And thank you again for having me on, and thumbs up Houston Pizza and Western Pizza.
Western Pizza, yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Western Pizza Hotline, Darryl Wolski. He is pro hockey agent, advisor, joining us here. They're the transfer portal. It's getting real when it comes to hockey. Hour 3 is coming up. Head coach of the Regina Pat Canadians, Ryan Hodgins, is going to join us. Also, Lotto Lawrence is going to walk us through his thoughts on the Super Draft and NHL drafts. And then if you missed it, lots of CFL talk with Farhan Lalji. It's a Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Welcome back for Nelson Holmes. Like you said, all of our guests on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, and you've been texting us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Thanks for making time today. If you missed any of it, you can go back and listen to it in podcast form. Watch it on YouTube as well. Colson is with me. It's been a good show so far. Farhan Lalji talking football. We're going to play that again coming up here in a bit. Eric Francis off the rails. Always a classic there. Darryl Wolski. Still to come momentarily, head coach of the Regina Pat Canadians, Ryan Hodgins, as they get set for nationals. And Lotto Lawrence, we're going to get back into this Kenaston Super Draft. When I do mine at home, I got Cole Caulfield, Demidov, Hudson, Suzuki. I'm going to Montreal Canadiens.
That'll make John happy.
Banking that they beat Tampa Bay, and if they don't, then my name will be at the bottom. John, the Habs fan, you'll be happy. Incredibly sad news in and around Regina this week, as longtime football coach, Coach Mason, passed away. Dwayne Mason just gave 25 years to the game. Now, I know this is said a lot when people pass away, that, one of a kind. I've had 2 people message me and say, this guy was one of a kind. He just connected with athletes that went far beyond football. He cared about who they were as people, pushed them to be better, created an environment where they felt supported and valued. Sad news. Coach Dwayne Mason passing away this week. Let's continue talking local sports here on the Sports Cage. Ryan Hodgins, head coach of the Regina Pat Canadians, going to the national championships again. Hodgie, thanks for taking some time here on Friday before you guys get out of town. It's never going to get old going to a national championship, but maybe, does it feel different than last year for you guys?
Yeah, you're right. It never gets old. I mean, it's pretty fortunate to be in this situation again. And, I don't think it feels a lot different. I mean, the guys are excited. We have a pretty new crew. So, guys are still we're really excited and looking forward to getting there.
The schedule, and you and I were talking at the rink the other day, there isn't a lot of time here because you fly out early Sunday morning, you're practicing Sunday, and then games start to fire on Monday, and then it's every day. There's no day off. How do you get guys ready, the players ready, obviously the coaches and watching tape and all that? How are you doing all that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's not much quick turnarounds. So like you said, we placed 7 o'clock against Peterborough the first game, and then you're right back at it the next afternoon. So, I mean, it's just you know what? Sometimes it's a good thing though not to have a lot of time in between, and you just got to get after it. But at the same time, you got to be prepared, and you don't have time to have games off and so forth. So the big thing is just being prepared, and then the boys going to go out and play and execute and play their games. Will
you guys stress, or have you stressed for the boys just as you get going here and hit the airport really early Sunday morning, just nutrition and fluids and sleep and stuff like that, or do you have anybody working with them?
Yeah, I mean, these guys, it's a little different from when we played. These guys are on top of it themselves. I mean, I remind them, sleep's important. They need to be going to bed and getting a lot of rest, and the fluids and obviously the nutrition. These guys are pretty dialed in at those things. But it's a reminder of taking care of themselves and as healthy as we can be. And like you said, sleep is big. Get lots of rest and be ready to go.
How have you practiced? How have the practices been this week? Is it a little, I guess, geared back, so to speak? I know you had spring camp as well, so it was busy for the coaches. But for the players, do you gear it back and kind of work on systems more, just so they maybe get a little rest?
Well, what we did was we had, like, after regionals there, I gave them a couple days off, and they didn't have anything, and and they took couple days just to relax and recharge, and then practice earlier in the week we try to focus on pieces like systems one at a time at practice, and then we do a lot of flow and special teams, and practice has kind of continued to be similar. We've amped up the compete drills here the last 3-4 practices, getting back to battling and competing. So, I mean, and we talk about that all the time. That's our biggest thing. So we practice hard and we compete in practice, and the boys, their pace has been real good. I mean, it's been long. They're ready to go. There's no doubt. That's a lot of practices. So and they're getting a little antsy and want to get going.
You're taking one of your APs and Jet Donison, who's going to be a big part of the team next year. Obviously, great news for Jet that he gets to go. Is he a guy that you're inserting in the lineup every game?
He will, and he gets a good opportunity on somebody else's misfortune, and it's really too bad. Alan Hahn has an injury that he won't be able to play, so it's really unfortunate for Alan. It's really unfortunate for our team that Alan won't be, in the lineup with us, because he's a good player and he's a big piece of our team. So again, with people's misfortunes, it's an opportunity for Jet. And Jet will be in the lineup each night, he'll be a part of our crew.
Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh. Schultz was here last year. There's going to be no secret. Every team, I'm sure, is watching tape. They've watched tape. They know what to key in on. For those two guys, how do you coach them going into this? Or I know Maddox, we talked to him enough, very mature kid. How do you coach these guys knowing that they're going to be a bit of a target? Everything's going to be on them again? Or is that something that they face every game?
Yeah, that's nothing new. That's in our league when they were here, and then in our league playoffs, and then in the regionals. Every team's keying on these two players, and they're used to that, and we expect it, and that's the elite players. This won't be the last time they're keyed on either. That's something that they've been dealing with and playing through and with their whole lives. So I don't see it being any different than any other game. One
thing I noticed is you guys kind of you share the nets with the goaltenders. Will that be the same thing going into the Nationals?
Yeah, right now I don't see a reason to change things. The thing is with a situation where I'm super fortunate that I have two guys that give us a great opportunity each night to win. So we're pretty fortunate in that situation that we're confident with either guy. The players are confident with either guy, and we'll take it. It's not set in stone, but they'll definitely both be playing in Nationals.
And then just the teams that are there. Obviously, Quebec is back. You'll know them; they'll know you. Do you watch a lot of tape on all these teams? What do you know about each one? If you can just kind of give a quick Cole's notes on each team you're playing.
Yeah, you know what, we've been like coaching staff, we've been doing video and breaking down, film and going through it. Again, sometimes video is deceiving, right? You can see systems and you can see things that they're doing, but at the same time the pace and the speed and things are kind of deceiving on video. But all the teams, they're at this point in time in the year, everybody's good, right? So there's no team that we prepare differently for that say they're stronger than the other. We're taking all the teams as top teams, and we'll prepare specifically for each team on what they're doing, and that's kind of how we're going to go with that.
There we go. All right, Haji. Exciting. We'll be keeping everybody up to date here on the Sports Cage. I'll have the Flow game going on the TV and watching. Have a blast, of course. Travel safe, and looking forward to watching.
All right, Barney. Thanks, man.
It's getting close to game time up in the Flan at the Whitney Forum. Game 1 of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League Final, Yorkton Terriers, Flin Flon Bombers. You can listen to that game. You can pick it up wherever you are, almost across the whole province, on our sister station, GX94. Benny Walchuk starts with the pregame show at 6:15. Western Hockey League playoffs, Prince George, Penticton. It's been a road series. Shifts back to Penticton tonight, tied 2-2. Kelowna Rockets again trying to stay alive. The Memorial Cup hosts are in Everett. Silvertips lead the series 3-1. Rider news, they inked former Packers kicker Alex Hale today. He's a global from Australia, signed as a undrafted free agent in August of 2024 before getting released in 2025 with the Packers. Went to Oklahoma State University, bringing him into camp. Major League Hardball. Blue Jays, Arizona Diamondbacks. 7:40 first pitch in the desert. Sports Ticker is for Regina Steelcraft Doors. They're made in Western Canada for Western Canada. If you need a garage door, 40,000 square foot facility, they probably got what you need. Regina Steelcraft Doors. I'm getting so jacked for the NHL playoffs now. And I hope that these I might embarrass myself. We might embarrass ourselves on a few of them, but the playoffs start tomorrow, and the bracket. We started the show. If you missed it, Sprinkle of the Day for Sports Select, and Colson looked up the longest shots that the odds makers are saying to win the Stanley Cup. It is, who was it again? Anaheim, Los Angeles, Los Angeles, Anaheim, Utah. I don't think it was Utah, actually. But it definitely Los Angeles and Anaheim. So I said, if Philadelphia plays Anaheim...
Or the Ducks. Or the Kings.
Anaheim, I'll eat a part of my gitch. Perry loved that. Ducks, Kings, Flyers. Longest shots on the board to make the Stanley Cup final. Can't see it happening.
Bruins... pretty much in that same boat.
I'm so intrigued of the Dallas-Minnesota series. Buffalo-Boston. Tampa Bay-Montreal could be the most intriguing for me. Gonna love watching a little bit of Pittsburgh-Philly. Edmonton-Anaheim. Meh. What if Radko Gudas dirties McDavid? What happens there? Radko and his beard going around. Vegas-Utah series, boring. Vegas got to get through, but the Utah can fly around as well. So, hey, what are you thinking? What are you thinking on the Super Draft? Fan favorite on the Sports Cage, Lotto Lawrence is back, and we are talking Kenaston Super Draft. You got till Monday at 6 p.m. to get in your entries. It's $40 for one. If you just want to do a one-player Super 8, that's only $10. I'm doing the 32-player drafts, 7 for $200. What a deal that is, I think. Sharky and I actually went halfers. So one of my entries is going to be with Lotto Lawrence today, just like Eric Francis. But Lotto Lawrence, you've been doing the Super Draft for a long time. I think it started in 1984. I don't think you were doing it back in 84, but pretty darn near. When it comes to the Kenaston Super Draft playoffs, what's the strategy that you've gone with over the years?
Well, there's one I've done, Barney, and thanks for having me on today. 2 years ago, there was 32 guys that you pick. I had all 32 in the Final Four. I thought this is the magic sauce. But no, it wasn't. Too many depth guys didn't get enough points and got eliminated. Wow. So I've come up with a bit of a different strategy. And I've looked at the scorers for the last couple of years, and you got to have the guys in the final, of course. Okay, that's big. Last year, out of the top 12, 13 out of the 13, 12 or the top 13 were in the Stanley Cup Finals. So you got to have the final. So I would go probably 16 or 17 players amongst those two final teams and go hard on those teams.
Okay, say that again.
So about 16 or 17 players in the final.
Okay. Now,
so 8 and 9, 10 and 8, 8 and 8, something like that.
What about how often? Because we have the boxes, and I tell people, go to superdraft.com. You're going to see it. It's really easy. And then they have the boxes laid out for the teams that are in the playoffs. You got to cross off the teams that obviously didn't make the postseason, or else we got real problems. You probably shouldn't be driving a car also. But the teams that are in the playoffs, they have the boxes. Now, at the bottom, Lawrence, my first year in the Kenaston Superdraft playoff pool, I didn't know about this. You can write in players. So maybe it's a player that hasn't played all that much, a rookie that's coming in. Do you ever take advantage of that?
I do. And this year there are a couple there that I've noticed. Well, first you can see Philly was the second best team, I believe, in the second since the Olympic break. They're not even in the Super Draft form, if you haven't noticed. Not that I think Philly is going to go far, but that's just an example. But I think if you look first, like Colorado Avalanche here, Barney, you got Devin Taves, who was part of the Olympic team for Team Canada. He plays alongside Makar. Okay, these guys are playing 25 to 30 minutes every night. I expect Colorado, they're a wagon. I expect them to go to the Cup final. Taves should get 15 points.
Okay, hold on.
He's not one of those guys there.
Let's start there then. This is where Lotto, Lawrence, and I are starting. I just wrote in at the bottom, Taves, Colorado. So he's one of our players. Who else are we taking in the Colorado box or on the Colorado team then? Obviously, Nathan MacKinnon.
Right. So you start at the top there. Burns, I probably wouldn't take, but you got Kadri, Landeskog, you got Lehkonen, McKinnon, Makar, Natchez, Nelson, and Nikushkin, and Taves. So I think that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys for the Colorado Avalanche. I would take all those 9. I wouldn't take Nick Waugh, and I wouldn't take Brent Burns.
Okay, so you want me to take Nakash and Nelson?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With Taves as the right end, that is 9. Okay, we're at 9.
That is 9.
That's 9 of our 32. Okay, where are we going next?
So then you have to go to the other conference, which is the East Conference. And, Barney, it's kind of a toss-up here. Like the Tampa Bay-Montreal series, I think, is quite intriguing. Whoever, I think, wins that could go to the Cup final. Carolina, I don't know about them. They're just every year. I'm not sure. They could get upset by Ottawa. Philly, Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh's got all the stud veterans, but can they make another run? I don't know. I think Carolina, that side, has kind of an easier side, so Carolina might have an easier path. Can't forget about Buffalo. So I really don't know the East who I would think, Barney, but whoever you like, I would probably say you need 7 or 8 players from there.
Okay, so one thing I haven't really done yet is look at Buffalo-Boston. Boston played Buffalo good this year. Swayman kind of has their number. Is that too risky then? Because we only have 9 players. We got to start somewhere in the East. Like where should we start?
Well, I don't like. You got to just pick, and when you're putting 7 teams in, like you are, which is a great idea for $200, you can sort of like map out your team a little bit. Right. So after we do this and pick 7 from the East, Barney, what I would do next is I would go, okay, who's going to be in the conference finals? Then I would take probably 3 players from each of those, and then I would sprinkle my guys for 2 rounds. If you look, guys like the top guys, when they play 13 or 14 games in the second round and were eliminated, they're getting 15 points, and they're getting in the top 30. You get those guys later on that you pick the second liners or the third liners, and they were only getting 10 points after 25 games.
Okay, so I think, and I know you said they could be upset, but the bottom Eastern bracket, do we have to think Carolina's playing at least 2 rounds?
I would think so. The problem with Carolina, and this is another thing about them, they don't score a ton of goals. They have lately. Their second and third lines have been dynamite. Taylor Hall has been great. Ehlers has added that spark that they didn't maybe have last year. Maybe that'll put them over the top. Come to this side. Do you have a team, one of your teams already, that has loaded Carolina and loaded Colorado?
Yes.
Okay, how loaded?
Fairly loaded. Okay, but I don't mind.
Keep going.
I don't mind. I think we got to take at least 3 Carolina Hurricanes here.
Well, if you like Carolina to go to the final, this is where you got to go 8 Carolina guys.
Oh, I don't know about the final, bro.
because you have to have the final. You have to have the lots of guys in the final.
Well,
if you only take Carolina for 3, there's going to be a guy out there that's going to have Carolina 7 or 8 Carolina guys.
Okay, this is me and Lawrence. I need you to be the leader here. Where are we going to go in the East? Or we might be here till midnight.
Okay, sure. Let's do that then. Very, very seldom though, and since 2013, 2014, 2 number 1 seeds have gone to the Cup final.
Yeah,
so we've got to keep that in mind, right? Carolina's number 1, Colorado's number 1. So we can shift our focus and go a bit of a dark horse and go Buffalo as the number 2 seed. I don't like their second round matchup. That's the problem. Is Tampa Bay and Montreal?
Yeah.
So Carolina is probably the safer bet here.
Okay, so who would we take? We're taking Aho.
Okay, Carolina. Yeah. So let's go Carolina. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I would probably not take Jordan Staal, not take Keandre Miller.
Okay.
And I think I would take everybody else there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that 9 then? Just a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
So I got 8. Svechnikov, Stankoven. That's 2. Jarvis 3. Gostisbehere 4. Ehlers 5. Aho 6. So you want me to take Jackson Blake?
Yeah, Jackson Blake, and like I said, Taylor Hall's been hot lately too.
Okay, and
so
then
if you go
Hall.
9 and 8, and let's load up on the Cup final.
6, 7, 8. So that's 8 Carolina, right?
Yep.
All right. Now what do we do?
Okay, so now we're going to look at a team that's going to. We want them to go to the. So out of Tampa Bay, Montreal, or Buffalo, Boston, who's going to go to the Eastern Conference?
I don't know enough about Buffalo.
Okay, so let's go. And we only want 3 players from these teams.
Yeah.
So if it's Buffalo or if it's Tampa Bay, okay, let's go Tampa Bay.
Oh, Montreal fans are going to hate us.
So 3 players from Tampa Bay.
Okay.
My 3 would be Kucherov.
Yep.
Gunsel.
Yeah.
And it's a toss-up here, but I'm probably going to go Brandon Hagel.
Hagel. Okay, so that's...
So 3 there, okay? So now that's it for now for the East. Let's go back to the West, Barney, quickly.
Yeah.
We got... look here for a sec. Okay, so the bottom here, we got Colorado is going to play Dallas or Minnesota, right? So we like Colorado there. So we don't take Dallas or Minnesota. We think Colorado's where we're going to go. Now we got Vegas, Utah, Edmonton, Anaheim.
I like Vegas.
Yeah, Edmonton. They had to win last night. Otherwise, they could have ended up playing Colorado. Surprisingly, if they would have lost and the scenarios, they could have ended up playing Colorado in the first round. It didn't happen, which is great for Edmonton. But I like Edmonton here to get to the conference finals once again.
Okay.
But I would gamble here, and I would go. I believe Leon Draisaitl, if he misses, it's only going to be a few games. He is been skating for a week. If you're skating by now for a week, you're playing, right? This time of year, you're playing. Even if you go on a power play, he's diamond on the power play. Put him on the power play.
So
for
Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl.
So McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and I would go Bouchard as well.
Boosh. Okay, so that's 3. That gets us to 23 players.
Okay, so now what I do is I'd either add 1 more there, and because they have such a deadly power play,
I like Hyman. Who do you like?
Hyman.
Okay, Hyman. So now we're at 24.
Okay, so now what I would do is I would go, who do you think is going to win each round?
Vegas.
And go. So Vegas. Vegas. You go Eichel. You take 2 there now.
Eichel, and I'm going to go, I think Marner's going to have a breakout.
Marner. And imagine if Marner and Vegas, which I don't think that they will, but can you imagine if Marner is the Conn Smythe Trophy winner?
Yeah.
That would be something else.
26 players. We got 6 more.
Okay, here we go. So, and Dallas, Minnesota. I personally am not giving enough credit here to Minnesota. Dallas is banged up. So Minnesota, to me, has probably the top 2 players top 2 out of 10 players in the league, and which is Kaprizov and Quinn Hughes. So I'm in on those 2.
Okay, Minnesota, we want Hughes and Kaprizov. Okay, getting us to 28.
Okay, so here we go. So Buffalo, we'll roll with Buffalo.
Yeah.
You got to go Rasmus Dahlin, Tage Thompson, and Alex Tuck.
Thompson and Tuck, who deserves to win. That's 29.
Okay, so now we need 3 more. So we could go three Philly or 3 Pittsburgh. What do you like there? Or we can add an extra guy into a Vegas. Kind of play with that a little bit. Who do you like there, Barney, Philly and Pittsburgh?
I want to take some Pittsburgh Penguins.
I want to take some Penguins. Okay, I don't have a problem taking Penguins. I like the 3 here: Crosby, Gino Malkin, and then it's a toss-up, whoever you like here. They got Carlson running their power play. He's been pretty good this year. Brian Rust has been good. Anthony Mantha has over 30 goals. Ricard Raquel. So actually, they had a pretty strong season. They're pretty consistent club, Pittsburgh.
Let's go Rust.
What do you like there?
Rust. I'm taking Rust.
Okay, sure. So that gives us 32?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Barney, I've never climbed to the highest mountain of the Kenaston Super Draft, but I'd like to. I seem like I fall off just at the end, sort of like the guy from Cliffhangers, and I just want to get there this year. So maybe this is the team to do it.
It'll be under Barney and Lawrence. People can heckle us and all that. Lawrence, thanks so much again, and good luck. And then we'll catch up, obviously, as the playoffs go on.
Thanks, Barney.